Okay, cool.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Are you back?
All right, cool. Oh, you can put the headphones down. The Hash's Way. Ooh, let me start that again. The Hash's Way, Season 5, Episode 2. More heat, more money. We got Mark. Better wallet.
Yes, sir.
A lot of followers. How many?
I checked today. And the thing about it is, like, I don't really get locked in on the amount of followers. I mean, impact. Is most important, right?
And
But
Stripe payments.
I looked today because I was looking at just Q1, like how well I did in terms of followers, money coming in, impact and all that stuff. And yeah, we're at 272,000 right now, which is dope.
About money.
Yeah, talking about money. So it goes to show you that there's a lot of people out there that just want to learn more about managing their finances and learning how to invest.
I met you through Anthony Hardzog.
Yep, that's my guy.
So anybody who Anthony tells me to meet, I consider them a friend because he has a great judge of character and he knows all the cool people.
Totally agree.
So shout out to the great brother Anthony Hardzog. Why are you an expert on money? Why should we listen to you? I know why, but you tell everybody.
No, definitely. So I think it's really easy to kind of skip to, hey, here's all the credentials. Here's what I did with these Wall Street firms, worked at Vanguard, right? But I like to talk about why I was even in that position in the first place, right?
Okay.
So grew up in foster care. I was adopted at 13, right? So 13 years of my life, I was going through the foster care system.
Wow.
And I should also mention that both my mom and dad were both victims of drug abuse in Philly.
Wow.
So put me in foster care. I was a preemie baby, had to go through detox, right? You had to do all the things. And then went through foster care, adopted at 13. And then from there, I said to myself, what is my life, right? How can I make my life different from what my parents went through, their grandparents, right? And I said, okay, well, I need to go off to college. The only way I'm going to go off to college is if my academics are where they need to be. So I did well when it came to like sports and things like that, but I knew my only path was going to go through college or through the military, and I wasn't doing the military.
Okay.
So went through college, put myself through school. So during that time, I had to learn how to network with people, how to, negotiate, how, like, what are interest rates, what are loans, right? What are grants, what are scholarships, right? And I found myself not only learning for myself how I can go about, putting myself through school, but also how can I teach others? And that's really where it started. How can you go about managing your own money while you're in school, right? You're getting these like refund checks. Does it make sense to have a refund check, or do you want to give it back to a loan provider? That way you don't have as much interest down the road. We're having those conversations. And then, oh, by the way, like, how can you make more money while you're in college? This is before this age where you can make all this money online.
Yep.
Right?
How old are you?
I'm 34.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was having that type of conversations every single day where I say, you know what? I love helping people, and I love helping people as it relates to money. And during college, I was also, it was during 2008, 2009, during the financial crisis. So I got to learn a lot of what was happening all on Wall Street. And then everything that has to do with like mortgages and mortgage-backed securities. So I became a finance nerd within 4 years.
Damn.
So from there, first job out of school was at Vanguard, came in through the management leadership development program, where it was my job to help people manage their portfolios. So I'm all of 22, kid from the hood, and people are calling in with multi-million-dollar portfolios saying, help me. What do I do? How do I rebalance my portfolio, right? So you have to have those conversations right off the cuff. Like, you don't have time to just think or like, hey, let me research that. They want to know the answer. So you go, fast forward, became a financial advisor, became a stockbroker. And then over time, I looked at everything I was able to accomplish, and I was like, man, like, I'm helping these multi-million-dollar people become, sometimes even billionaires. What am I doing to help my own people invest their first $100,000? Hell, your first $20, right?
Yeah.
What am I doing? What am I doing to help out my own folks? So from there, I started documenting not only my own debt-free journey, but also teaching finance online like any millennial would do. And then from there, Better Wallet went from a hobby to a business, and now it's something that is changing the world. And
This is your full-time business.
Full-time, yeah, since 2021, yeah.
What is a Roth? So for anyone, this is going to be a 15-minute bullet point session. So I'm a risk taker. Some things work out, some things haven't. Luckily, more things have worked out than haven't. But I think everybody, and most of our audience is black, every black person needs to know how to retire. No matter what you do, 9 to 5, solo, franchise, you need to know how to retire.
Right.
All right, let's start. What is a Roth IRA?
Yeah, so I think we should start with what an IRA is in general, right?
There we go.
And the only way I can really explain what an IRA is explaining the 401k. Because a lot of us have 401ks, we have 403bs, right? So if you work for an employer, you likely have a 401k, a 403b, a 457, some sort of retirement account where you put the money in, and then they sometimes will go and they will match it. The goal is for you to be able to put enough money in so you can retire at whatever age you decide to retire. Normally people retire around 60, 65, 67, right? That's the end goal. Why do companies care to do that? Tax benefits, right? They get tax benefits for that, and you also get tax benefits when you put contributions into a 401k, 403b, whatever it is. An IRA is the same exact thing, but you own it, right? You can't have a 401k if you're not with an employer. You can't have a 403b, but you can have an individual retirement account, right? Or individual retirement agreement is technically what it stands for, but individual retirement account. And you can get that from Fidelity, Vanguard, you can get that from Charles Schwab. And my personal opinion, it's easier to open up an IRA than it is to open up an Instagram account. So if you're listening right now, you probably have Instagram and you're probably like, I don't know what to do. You can totally open up an IRA. It's so simple. Just do it. It takes 5 minutes.
How much money do they need to open it?
Nothing. You can open up for free. And the next natural question is, how much money do I need to invest up front? Before, it used to be like $5,000, $3,000, right? You need to talk to your dad's broker, and he needed to draw some papers up and make sure that that trade was being processed. Now you can trade with just $1. You can invest with just $1 using what they call fractional shares.
All right.
So talk about IRA. Roth is just a fancy way of saying that you pay taxes now, so down the road you don't have to pay taxes, right? You put the money in now, you pay taxes, the money grows tax-free, and then at 59.5 you can take that money out and not pay any taxes on it. And if you're wondering why the account is so powerful, you really have to think about it. All the dividends you're receiving within the account, tax-free. All the growth within the account is tax-free. And then when you take it out, you don't have to pay any taxes. And oh, by the way, if you live in a place like Texas or Florida, you also don't have any state tax. That's the reason why people move to Florida.
So, I moved there just for that.
Right. The great weather, the golf courses, right? The country clubs, and then no taxes. Like, rich people love that.
That's the way.
But that's basically what a Roth is compared to a traditional where you put the money in pre-tax. You don't pay any taxes on it up front. The money grows tax deferred, and then at 59.5, you take the money out and you have to pay taxes. So it was a gamble. You're trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to pay the least amount of taxes?
Got it.
So that's what you have to weigh up when you're making a decision on a traditional or Roth.
Perfect. I have a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. You can be your 2 cents. Should parents consider setting up a retirement account for their kids, or continue to fund their college? Let's say they can only pick one.
So I would say I'll answer like a politician, right? It depends. It really depends. I would say education comes first. We can always catch up for retirement. So I would start as early as possible to put money away for college, even if the kid is not here yet. So I don't have any kids, and they're not even in the plans right now, but they are fully funded to go to whatever university you want to go to, because I'm putting that money away for them already. You can use a plan like a 529 account, which kind of works similar to a Roth IRA. You put the money in, after tax, the money grows tax-free, and then when you take the money out at, whenever they go out to college and use it for qualified expenses, you can take the money out and use it for that, completely tax-free, right? So I already have that set up. It's in my name. 529, you can easily roll it over to whoever is in your family. So once that new family member comes in and he's born, and I have a social security number, I can literally transfer it to them. And I started 15 years before they were even a thought, right? So that's how you get how you set up your kids really, really early. Now afterwards, sure, like if you are on track to make sure the kid has enough money for college, and it doesn't have to be for college, like any type of higher education. If you're a parent and you say, hey, I want my kid to go and get an education after high school. Probably want to have a 529 because it could pay for certification programs, pay for trade school. If you want them to go off and, I don't know, be a, I don't know, like HVAC systems, whatever it is, any education, most education after high school, you can use that 529 for. At the same time, once you feel like you're on the right track with that, right, you want to pay for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is of college or higher education, then you should start focusing on how can I make sure that they are able to retire. And if you start early, you start from the age of 1 to the age of 18 or even beyond that, even 5-10 years is going to put them light years ahead of other people who didn't
Let's
start.
give some numbers on that. So let's say I have a child. Am I able to get them a Roth IRA as a child? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say that I max it out, or let's use $5K a year as the max out number.
For Roth IRA?
Yeah.
So $7,000.
Okay, so let's say I put $7,000 in from when they're 5 to 10 years old. Mm-hmm. Let's say that I just do that. I do nothing else. When they're 60 or 59 and a half, estimated, we know things change.
Yep.
What do you think that money would be worth? That's 7,
definitely.
21, 28, 35, 42,000.
Yeah, I wish I had my calculator on me or my my laptop. But if you just look at the basic numbers, right? If you look at, if you contribute like $100, appreciate you. Is this financial calculators?
Oh, no.
But
I'm remedial, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so let me get the laptop.
Okay, cool.
I'll crunch numbers for you real fast.
Okay, live and direct.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Okay, I want to make sure you guys are getting the right numbers here. So, FE calculator.
And here's the reason why I'm doing this. The reason why I'm doing this is to give you guys a real life scenario on how your kids and our lives can be so much better if we started planning early. You do not want to, look at all the cameras here. You do not want to be old and broke.
You do not. You do not be working at Walmart when you're 65.
You want options. The older you get, the more options you want. And I know a lot of young people watching. By young people, I mean 30 and under. And they think about the big stuff, right? The big popular fancy stuff. Drop shipping, real estate, wholesaling, Toro, Airbnb, all that stuff. Great. Do whatever works for you. But along the journey, what if you just planned your retirement in your 20s, then you hit 40 like me, and you can do whatever the hell you want? Mm-hmm. Options. We want to give you guys options.
All right, we got the numbers.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so let's say you start putting just $100 a month away for your kid, like as soon as they're born, right? So we're looking at about 18 years. 18 years times 12, 216 months during the time that they are children, right? Just using basic growth rates of the S&P 500, which we'll talk about, you can expect for you to, or the kid to be at about $48,000 by the time they turn 18. Imagine if you're 18 years old and someone handed you a check for $48,000. I don't know about you, but I was in the negatives by the time I turned 18, right? I was in college. It was crazy, right? So that's not even the crazy part, right? What we want to look at is, okay, well, if you stop at 18 and you say, you know what, I'm not going to put in another damn dollar. How much am I going to have, right? So from the time that you're 18 to the time that you're 60, you're going to have 504 months, right? 504 months. You plug that bad boy in, and this is just a regular, growth calculator, and you make no more contributions, right? You are going to 504, 48. Just use 48,000 as being the present value. You're going to be at $1.4 million, right? So to say that over again, from the time that the child is born to the time they turn 18, you just put $100 in. And a lot of folks...
$100 a month.
$100 a month.
Okay, so that's $1,200 a year.
Right. $100 a month. And for folks who are like, I can't afford that.
Most people can.
You can, right? Like
most people can.
Yeah. In Atlanta, people like lamb chops. Leave the lamb chops alone. Don't do the hookah, right? Or just cut back even half.
Yeah.
Right? You could make sure your kid is a millionaire by the time they retire. And again, that assumes that there is no contributions whatsoever from the time that they turn 18 until the time they turn 60.
So I want everyone to get this, because your kid has a party coming up, your niece has a party coming up, your nephew has a party coming up, or something. Like they want something. You're going to send this video to them, and you're going to say, look, I can do this for you, or I can do this for you.
Right.
So $48,000, $100 a month from when they're born to when they're 18 can be worth $1 million plus when they're 60. Just that simple formula. At least. We're going minimum here.
Right. And you're probably like, okay, who has done this? Like, there's been so many. Just Anthony, we're just talking about it. Like, Anthony is setting up his child in the same way, right? Like, she's going to easily be a millionaire by the time she turns 30 at least. So, and they're not putting a drastic amount of money in. They'll tell you.
It's compound interest.
Compound interest over time. And if you could take advantage of the most important factor as it relates to investing, time, when they're young, then it's almost guaranteed that they're going to become multimillionaires by the time they turn 60. Hell, by the time that they turn 40, right? I'm about to turn 40 in about 6 years now. And like, I wish I just had some money that was put away ever since I was 1 year old, right?
Your kid might be mad at you now for buying them the toys.
Yeah.
But they won't be mad at you when they're 60.
And here's the thing. There's options, right? So you can either buy them the toys, and you know that the toys aren't going to be there 3 years from now, hell, a year from now. 3 months from now. The next day, they're going to forget about them, right? Or you can do both. You can invest and buy them the toys, or you can just invest, right? You have to decide what future you want for your kid. And if you want them to get out the mud like we had to, buy them the toys. It's not going to be here after, a couple of days, right? Or you could put that money away, make that small sacrifice to make sure they are at a point where they have, I call it putting hammocks in your family tree, where you don't have to worry about that as much, right? And you can also do it for yourself, right? The kids are important. It's great to set them up, but hell, if you're not investing for yourself when it comes to retirement, you need to be doing it as well.
Start today. You have a thriving online community. Shout out to you. They seem like wonderful people. You have events and all that good stuff. How does one build an online community? And do you reoccurring payments, one-time payments? What's your preferred?
Yeah. So I learned early on in my career when I was working at Vanguard from the late Jack Bogle. Shout out to the late Jack Bogle. He mentioned, and I should give context, Vanguard brings in millions and billions of dollars a day. Ask me how many times in my 5 years I was there that we talked about how much money was coming in. Zero, right? He would always say money is a byproduct of doing the right thing. If you're doing the right thing, you treat people well, you give people the chance at success as it relates to investing, you don't have to worry about the money coming in. It's going to happen, right? The same way if you're teaching people how to, make money online, in person, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about ever working again, like for someone else, because you're helping people make money. So people are going to pay you in order to make that happen, right? So when it comes to Better Wallet, anyone who has ever interacted with the brand, they understand that even if they pay, they're going to get 15 times more than what they paid for.
Wow.
Right? Like the value that comes along with any of my programs, it's way farther than what other people might be doing out there. And it's not because I'm trying to be more competitive. It's just who I am as a natural person. I want to help. And, great. Like you pay me money for it, but like that's not the end game. Sure, it's something that's like a litmus test on like if I'm going in the right direction, but that is what's most important to me. So if you do that often enough, even without marketing, word of mouth spreads. Again, another example, Vanguard is being the company that didn't even market for decades, and they were able to accumulate $4 trillion. They now market on TV. They did not do that for the longest time. Fidelity, all their competitors, BlackRock, they would put millions and billions of dollars into marketing, but then they will look back and say, okay, well, we're still trying to compete with Vanguard, who does no marketing, right? So for me, word of mouth is the best marketer. If you do the right thing by people, they're going to tell their friends, their cousins, their aunties, right? That is the end goal. So in terms of how I go about getting compensated, there's a couple of different ways, right? You have the digital products, which is, my way of helping people directly. So if people are like, hey, I see all the things you're putting online, you post every single day, multiple times a day, but I need some hand holding.
Okay.
There's, obviously a fee that comes along with that where I can help you from A to Z, budgeting, investing, taxes. How can I help you achieve your financial goals, whatever that looks like for you? And then there are some reoccurring subscriptions that you can sign up for. Like I have coaching that comes along with the actual program where I can help you directly. That all comes along with the flat fee. But then if you want continuing coaching every single month forever, you can sign up for the subscription for that, and that's a low price as well. And then the other way of going about doing is brand deals, right? Bringing money in the door. So brand deals have been great for me. Luckily, I've been working with like some of the best brands out there, like Ally Bank and Chase and Verizon, which has been great. They pay really well. They ask for a lot. And the cool thing about it is like I only truly partner with companies that I have used before. I know them and I trust them.
Dope.
That's very, very important to me. They're over the crypto phase or the crypto era, like a 2020, 2021. I looked at the numbers. I declined close to $100,000 in just brand deals because I didn't believe in what they offered. It wasn't more of like me saying, hey, like I didn't believe in crypto. I didn't believe in the platform. And the one, I'm not going to name any companies, but the companies you're seeing now that are going under, I can literally go back to my inbox and say, hey, like they offer me an X amount of money, but I didn't believe in what they offered because I was asking questions and they couldn't respond to that, right? So that's incredibly important to me because my, $100,000 means nothing if people don't trust my platform because I partner with X company that, screwed over their investors.
Good for you.
So
Let me
that's
ask you
really
this
important.
one. You can give rough numbers. What do you have in your accounts?
In my accounts, the dollar
IRAs.
amount. Oh man, we're here now. We're talking about that.
Stocks. You can give over 6 figures, over $1 million.
Yeah, let's say I'm in a good spot, right? Okay. So I'm pretty transparent on my Instagram page, saying that like I really didn't.
That's the only reason why I actually
I didn't really truly start to invest until after I became debt free in 2020.
Okay, that's Dave Ramsey. Okay.
Yeah, so like. It was more because the debt was such a burden for me that I didn't want to worry about investing. I knew I could catch up.
Yeah.
Right. It was the mental. It was like, yeah, sure. Like I can hold on to this debt forever. A lot of it was low interest, but I said, you know what? I'm going to just pay it off and then start investing. But at that point, I already had like a 6-figure portfolio.
Nice.
Within my retirement, because that was my one rule was that I'm not going to put money into a brokerage. I'm going to make sure I have money in my retirement.
Smart.
Because that match, I can't go back and say, hey, Vanguard, I didn't put money in. Let me get that 5% that you used to give.
Take it now or leave it.
Exactly. So, and they're not going to email you about that and tell you, hey, you should get it, right? So if you kind of take that, the amount of money I've been investing over the last 4 years, right? So I would say we're north of 500,000.
Nice. Good
and
for you.
we're getting very, very, very close to $1 million.
I respect that, man.
And if this year goes the way that it should, $1 million will be the least.
Whew.
And that's just my portfolio. My kids have their own portfolio. The kids that don't
even have yet are lit.
They have their own portfolio. I'll allow them to talk about their portfolio when they're here.
Okay. Someone's 40, they have no assets, no retirement. What are their next 3 to 5 steps?
Yeah, so no assets, no retirement. Retirement is number one, right? So you can't take a loan out for retirement. You can take a loan out for everything else, right? Everything you could think of, you could take a loan out for, but you can't take a loan out for retirement. So what do? You have to focus on where you can get your free money, right? Free money being the money that we're just talking about, like a retirement money. If you work for an employer and you get a match, make sure you're putting enough in the 401k, 403b, 457 to make sure you're getting that match. Okay. If you don't get a match with your employer, quit. That's my philosophy.
Whoa,
and
I didn't expect you to say that.
And here's the reason why. You're losing out on thousands of dollars over the long term. Make sure you get, put in 2-week notice, make sure you have another job lined up, all the things.
Yeah,
but I hear
you.
all the time where people say, I have great benefits. Cool. You have flexibility. That's great. I'm happy you can be there for your kids. But do you have a match? No, you don't have great benefits.
Damn.
You do not. Because you really have to think about it. If I put in $300 per month into my 401k and I get a match, they're going to be putting in that $300.
Yeah.
Right? That $300 that they're putting in is going to grow compound every single month for the rest of my life.
Damn.
Right? But if you don't get that, you're only putting in 300 times 12, right? That's what you're putting in, but you're not getting that additional match. The company is literally giving you money. And if you abide by what they call the vesting schedule, where they'll say, okay, well, you need to be here for 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you get to keep all of that.
Yeah.
And that was a big, big decision for me when I was leaving Vanguard, because I wanted to make sure that I met that vesting schedule to make sure that I had all that money by the time I left. And remember, I just told you, like, I left when I had $100,000 already in the portfolio, and a lot of that came from the match, right?
Shout out to you.
People sleep on that, but that is like the easiest way. There's people out there who are like, yo, I'm a hustler. Da, da, da. I'm like, do you get a match? Like, if you don't get a match, you're hustling backwards, in my opinion.
I dig it.
Like, I think you should consider other jobs if you don't get that match. So I think that's number one.
Last question. What is the S&P 500?
Yeah, so if you think about all the companies, large companies that we know and love, NVIDIA, Amazon, just think about the brands we have on now. Like I have Alo, Movado, Nike, right? They're all in the S&P 500, right?
Okay.
A lot of these companies here that we're seeing here in the podcast room are probably is that Canon? Canon's in the S&P 500, right?
Okay.
Imagine if you can buy 500 of those same companies that we use every single day. Some companies that we know, some companies we don't, right? You buy all 500. It's basically a basket. And you say, you know what? I'm going to invest in the capitalism in the United States that we all know and sometimes love.
Yeah.
Right? The capitalism in the United States isn't going anywhere. Nowhere, right? So why not invest in it? So that's basically what it is. It's one fund. You have companies like Vanguard, you have Fidelity, right? And they go and they create these funds that mirror the stock performance of those 500 companies, a little bit more than that, but
nice. 500
to kind of make it easy. So you put the money in, and it's a pretty simple process. They make it really easy. You go to Vanguard, you type in one of the tickers, VOO, which is the Vanguard SP 500 index fund. You put the money in. You can start with $1, $10, $20, whatever you have, right? You put that money in, and then you are basically investing into the capitalism of the United States. So as that money grows, or these companies grow, you're going to be growing with them. Okay. Now, the opposite side of the spectrum is that some people say, you know what? I'm just going to invest in one company. I'm just going to invest in the Canon, and I think Canon's going to take off and be rich. What if Canon does not, right? The perfect example, 3 years ago, people were like, why don't you invest in the Tesla? Why don't you, Tesla's going to be taking off, right? Elon Musk, whatever, diamond hands, whatever he says, right? And I was like, I don't like Elon Musk. I don't think he's a great leader. Here's all the things that I think are kind of weird about him. And he's also trying to, this before he, bought Twitter and became X, right? I was like, this is kind of weird that he's even talking about that. He's a giant company, multiple companies he's trying to operate. I don't like that in a CEO,
gotcha.
Right? And again, I only work with companies and people that I trust, right? It's the same concept. And now Tesla is down. I looked the other day, it was down 24 to 30%, right?
Wow.
And that's really, really hard to recover from unless you do a YOLO trade and you get lucky and it works out. Chances are you're not. You're going to continue to lose money. It's just it's gambling, right?
So S&P 500 is just a safer bet because you're diversified and you can start with a minimum amount of money.
Exactly.
How can we hire you to help us with this stuff?
Definitely.
And really quick, with budgeting, what do people spend the most money on when you go over their budgets? Is it Uber Eats?
Yeah.
DoorDash?
I mean, when I go over a real budget, it's obviously how much you pay for your home, and the next one's actually your car. Right. I get the home thing. It's you want to make sure, but a lot of times people pay so much money on their car, sometimes $800, $700 per month. At least, especially here in Atlanta. I was in an Uber earlier. I took an Uber over here, and he was in a BMW X6 driving the Uber. Don't get me wrong, that's fine. Whatever your hustle is, but if you're using that money from your Ubering to pay for your, I'll go into tangent. Let's not talk about it. Okay. But anyhow, that is the bigger expense that people pay for, and then a lot of people don't even drive their cars every single day, and a lot of times it's in their parking lot. So they're paying for it to be in their parking lot.
Get a cheaper car.
Get a cheaper car, right? I drive. So again, Better Wallet has probably made. I can't say probably. Definitely made more than $1 million over the last few years.
Congrats.
Right? I drive a 2011 Kia Sportage. Proudly. Kia. I put it online every single, and people are like, no, you probably have a Bentley. I do not. There's a Bentley parked right beside me, but I don't. I have a 2011 Kia Sportage, completely paid off since 2018, and I love it, right? Why do I do that? Because I know a car is a means to get from point A to point Z. that's all I care for it for. Like, sure, if you're a car person and you collect cars, whatever. But a lot of times people are in cars because of the name, not because they actually want to have that car. And then they have to live with regret for the next 5-10 years as you're paying it off. And then you say to yourself, I could have done better things with this money. Yeah, but that's the biggest expense that I see where I'm like, that was optional. You didn't really have to do that.
How can we hire you? And what are your price ranges?
Yeah, so I would say follow me on Better Wallet on Instagram. That's number one. Right here, exactly as it's spelled. There's only one verified Better Wallet page. Now it's verified before Instagram. Now it went away. Before Instagram allows you to pay for it. So you go to Better Wallet. Reach out, just send me a quick DM. That way we can connect. But if you want to find a way for us to work together directly and you say, hey, like I want you to hold my hand from A to Z to help me with my finances, go to financesincheck.com, and then just sign up for the program. I'm getting better at saying program instead of course, because it's actually like an actual program where I'm helping you. I'm not sending you just video content saying like, here you go.
You in their face.
Right. It's an integrated process where we're going through step by step and we're building brick by brick. Right. So financesincheck.com, sign up there, and then we'll work together and I can help you reach your financial goals.
There we have it, Mark, the official money expert of the Hatches Way Show. Do what he says. Just do it. Just don't even think. Just do it. You'll be happy you did. On that note, the Hatches Way Show, Season 5, Episode 2. See you guys soon. All right. Perfect. Thanks, brother.
Easy, bro. Appreciate you.